On YouTube, my name is Randy, and we got a lot to talk about, Met fans. We got a lot to talk about, and that is about Brett Baty. We got to discuss about the lineup. We got to discuss about Nolan McLean, an up-and-coming prospect for the New York Mets pitching prospect. Man, we're going to get into it, but man, the Mets did not have a great time, a great series in Boston, but the last game, Brett Baty showed up, and he got really good hits. And I mean, we got a really good hit against Garrett Crochet, and it was a very impressive at-bat against Garrett Crochet. When you think of Brett Baty, he hasn't been that good lately, but he's been hitting the ball hard. And facing Garrett Crochet, the Mets put him in a tough position, and he came to prosper, man. And Brett Baty got a big hit against Garrett Crochet, and then in a runners in scoring position opportunity, another running is in scoring opportunity for the New York Mets. Brett Baty got a hit with bases loaded and to opposite field, left field, and he got 2 runs in. And the thing is, when it comes to the New York Mets, Brett Baty is a guy that's playing great defense for the New York Mets. And the Mets see now that Mark Vientos is probably not the answer. Mark Vientos is probably not the answer. And now you got, defensively. He's not the answer defensively. But Brett Baty, he's been playing a great defense at third base, and he deserves the opportunity. So I think this is the lineup that you're going to see. You're going to see Mark Vientos in the lineup, and you're going to see Brett Baty in the lineup. But Brett Baty is going to be playing third base most of the time. And Mark Vientos, just his third base just hasn't been good defensively. He hasn't. And offensively, he's had some spells. We haven't seen the all-star Mark Vientos, but Brett Baty, man, he's been very, very impressive lately. He's been hitting the ball hard. Even when he hits the ball for outs, he's been hitting the ball hard. So I think when it comes to Brett Baty, that the Mets really want this 25-year-old to find it. They want this 25-year-old to finally find it in the major leagues. And a big hit against Garrett Crochet, and that's 2 hits against lefties in that start. So very impressive start for Brett Baty. Definitely yesterday, but I mean 2 days ago. But when it comes to the New York Mets, man, the lineup needed to be a shakeup, and Carlos Mendoza shaked this lineup up, and it looked a little different. You didn't have the 1-2-3 normal. You had Francisco Lindor leading off, and that's normal. But then you had Starling Marte in that second spot. Now, I want to talk about who gets in that second spot. Is it going to be a Brandon Nimmo? Is Brandon Nimmo going to be in that second spot? Or is it going to be a guy like Luis Angel Acuna, maybe Tyrone Taylor? I think that the Mets have options here when it comes to that second spot for the New York Mets. But I really like I really like Luis Angel Acuna in that second spot. I feel like, or Mark Vientos. We saw what Mark Vientos did last year in that second spot in the lineup, and he got a lot of fastballs to hit. He got more fastballs to hit, and now when Mark Vientos is in this 5th spot, 6th spot, he's getting a lot of breaking balls, and they're trying to strike him out. So if you put Mark Vientos in that second spot in the lineup, maybe that'll help him. And I know Mark Vientos is not the most fastest runner in the world, but Mark Vientos, he was in the 2 spot last year, and he did a really great job. And it seemed like he was getting a lot more pitches to hit than now. So, I mean, I think this would be a good thing. Maybe you could put Mark Vientos in that spot, but this lineup needed a shakeup, and the Mets, Mendoza, he shaked this lineup up. You got Soto in the 3rd spot now, and I honestly feel like Juan Soto should have been in the 3rd spot from the beginning. I feel like Francisco Lindor, Soto, and Alonso in a row, it just didn't work. I don't know. It hasn't worked. It really hasn't worked. You thought it would have worked, but it hasn't. So I think it worked for the Yankees because you had Aaron Judge behind Soto in the 3rd spot, but it just hasn't worked. I don't know. It hasn't. So I think you got Soto in the 3rd spot, and maybe this is going to make Soto feel better. Maybe this is going to get Soto going. Juan Soto is one of the best players in the game, guys. He's going to get it going, and he's too good not to. So we'll see what happens, but Pete Alonso, he's been kind of struggling a little bit. So we got to get Alonso going back, and maybe the cleanup spot will be a great spot for the New York Mets. I've always felt like when seeing Brandon Nimmo being the cleanup hitter just didn't make any sense to me. I just don't think Brandon Nimmo is a cleanup hitter at all. And when it comes to the lineup, this lineup is dangerous, but maybe if you got to put these guys in the right spots. So if you put Brandon Nimmo in a different spot, maybe you put him in the, what's it called? Maybe the second spot, maybe the fifth spot, whatever. There's a lot of options that Carlos Mendoza can do. But I feel like a cleanup hitter, Brandon Nimmo should not be your cleanup hitter in 2025. I'm sorry. He just shouldn't be. And yeah, he doesn't have the right approach. He struggles with runners in scoring position. And yes, he's hitting for power, but he's sacrificing that power. And he's striking out a lot. So we'll see what happens. But I think that the lineup with the 3-4, I like Soto in the third spot. I like Alonso in the fourth spot. And then the fifth spot, you can, let's say my lineup would be, let's put Francisco Lindor first. We got Mark Vientos in the second spot. Soto, I feel like if you put Mark Vientos in the second spot, he's going to get more fastballs to hit, and that's going to be better for Mark Vientos because he's a fastball hitter. So you put Mark Vientos in the second spot. You put Soto in the third spot, Alonso in the cleanup spot, and then the fifth spot, I guess you're going to have to put Brandon Nimmo. So you put Brandon Nimmo in the fifth spot, and then you go from there. But I like that lineup better than the original Lindor, Soto, Alonso, and the cleanup spot Nimmo. I just never felt like Nimmo was the cleanup hitter. I never felt like Nimmo was the cleanup hitter. But I mean, we'll see what happens here. But let me get into some stats recently from Brett Baty. Brett Baty, let's see here. His last 15 games, batting .250. Has 10 hits. So Brett Baty is kind of getting going. He's been hitting the ball hard a lot, and we'll see what happens. But let's talk about now. We're going to talk about Nolan McLain, guys. Up-and-coming pitching prospect for the New York Mets. And Nolan McLain is a guy that got promoted, like three weeks ago from AA to AAA, and he's been insane. And I mean insane. McLain has now made 3 starts in AAA. With 2 good ones, 7 innings, not allow any runs. And, I mean, he's been insane. I mean, 7 innings. His first start, 7 innings, didn't allow any runs. His second start, 6 innings, didn't allow any runs. And then he had one bad start, and that was the 5 innings, and he allowed 4 runs. But this is a guy that I feel like has a lot of promise. He has potential. And when you look at a guy like a pitching prospect like Brandon Sproat, a lot of people thought Brandon Sproat was going to be the next pitching prospect for the New York Mets, and he's going to be the guy. But I feel like Nolan McLain is going to be this guy. I think he's going to be the best pitching prospect to come, or at least right away. I think Brandon Sproat has really struggled in AAA. So now Nolan McLain is giving himself an opportunity. I mean, he could maybe be called up during the season. If he keeps having great starts, he's going to be called up during the season, guys. So I think Nolan McLain is a guy that has amazing movement on his pitches, guys. I don't know if you guys know, but his fastball is good. His slider is amazing. It is so much movement. His breaking pitches, and he hasn't been walking a lot of people. So I feel like Nolan McLain is a pitching prospect that we got to look at. We got to pay attention to. So let's not forget Nolan McLain, guys. But yeah, man, at the end of the day, the Mets pitching is good right now. But if you can add a guy like Nolan McLain into the rotation, you got Sean Manaea coming back from injury. You got Frankie Montas. You got Paul Blackburn that is around the corner. I think he's going to be called up soon, very, very soon. So you got the rotation. You got McGill. You got these guys. But I feel like Nolan McLain, he could be called up soon. Maybe after the All-Star break or something like that. But I feel like Nolan McLain is a guy that has put himself in a really good spot. And I mean, yesterday, another 6 innings and only allowed unearned 2 runs. So he's been on fire, man. Nolan McLain has been on fire. And yeah, I really feel like this is a guy that we got to pay attention to. So, I mean, let me know what you guys think about Brett Baty. Let me know what you guys think about the lineup shakeup. What do you guys think about the lineup shake? Are you guys good with the lineup shakeup? How would you shake up the lineup? And at the end of the day, how do you feel about Nolan McLain so far over Brandon Sproat? Guys, that has been the video. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. This has been Randy with Randy Talks Mets. I'm out of here, guys. Let's go, Mets.